History in today's 24-hour news cycle can be cruel. It can transform our heroes from immortal giants and reduce them to flawed humans with warts visible for all to see. We feel like part of our life was a lie when our heroes fall, but fans of Stan Musial never had to know that feeling when it came to old reliable number 6. Before hype, before SportsCenter, before interns were turned loose in Major League locker rooms, baseball was covered by scribes and play-by-play voices who knew greatness. When we listen to the warbled tape or read the accounts of Bragg and Burns, it's like a time machine letting us know how great Stan Musial was on the field. While others may not give him sufficient credit like Ken Burns, you hear even better stories about the kind of man that Stan was off the field. There are so many great accounts from fans who had chance meetings with Stan in his playing days, in his prime, and after he wore the birds on bat for the final time. The stories are often the same. He signed an autograph, posed for a picture, and was an engaging, humble man. Greatness blended with humility. He represents the era that made America great. The America that didn't rest on its laurels after the successes and horrors of World War II, rebuilding Europe, building better communities, pushing past the sound barrier and into space, and trying to create a better life for the next generation. Stan was always the man and the legend, but was never a myth. Baseball's perfect warrior and perfect knight. That's one big title to live up to, and live up to it he did in 92 years of life. He also was St. Louis's perfect ambassador. Living in 2013 can be frustrating. Oprah Winfrey says Mariah Carey is bigger than Elvis. Others suggest Justin Bieber is equivalent to the Beatles. There's a total loss of perspective. Kids don't play outside, they don't visit their friends, and they just chat online. However, for all the perceived flaws of today's society and the generation gap, you always saw that gap being conquered at Busch Stadium with reverence for Stan the Man, whether the fans were peers in his age range or someone whose age matched his uniform number. As time has marched on, a shrinking minority of fans got to see the man play. Even fewer got to see him in his prime. But you couldn't help but be jealous of those who got to see Stan help the Cardinals shock the world in '42, keep the crosstown Browns humble in '44, and help St. Louis celebrate happier times after World War II in 1946. While most of us don't want to be older than we have to be, you couldn't help but want to be in their shoes, having seen his exploits at Grand and Dodier. Stan the Man Musial's highlight reel is relatively small, since his final World Series appearance came the year before the Fall Classic was televised nationally for the first time. But it doesn't take much more than a still photo or a video of a few at-bats to realize that swing was magical, lightning in a bottle. He turned a Louisville slugger into a weapon of mass destruction. Every time the Natural would play and that golf cart would roll out with Stan inside, I couldn't help but get chills. Sometimes it just plain brought you to tears. You never took it for granted when you saw Stan out there in that shiny red sport coat. You knew this might be your last chance to see a great man, a great player, a great American. Just to see him was enough, but Stan would sometimes go that extra mile and give us a sample of that familiar swing that terrorized National League pitchers for a generation. Cardinal baseball hasn't been the same for me since Jack Buck passed on, and I believe now there will be a void that can never be filled on opening day. Stan Musial isn't just a legend, a record breaker, or an escape to a simpler time. Stan Musial represents a way to live your life. Be nicer than you have to be. Deflect attention from your accomplishments and share the credit. I think there should be a Stan Musial School of Leadership. Today, being a leader is about ambition, branding yourself, getting a bigger share of the pie for you. But when Stan suited up, being a leader meant seeking greatness day in, day out, and carrying you and your teammates to greater heights. As a pitchman, he made it cool for young boys to imagine growing up to be the kind of guy someone would want their daughter to marry. Stan Musial, I never got to see you put a fastball over the fence or run down a fly ball, but I thank you for the memories, making it more special to be a Cardinal fan. While you can take a lot of pride in being a Yankee fan and celebrating the feats of someone like the Yankee Clipper, or a Red Sox fan and celebrating the great Ted Williams. Chances are if you met either man, it wouldn't have been as much fun. But to know Stan was to love him. He was the best of us, and he will always be the best to ever wear the iconic uniform of the St. Louis Cardinals. He wasn't just a legend, he was a friend. Stan Musial, gone at 92, but never forgotten.